I'm Ben, and today was a big day. My wife, Lily, and I just moved into a new house. We'd spent the whole day unpacking boxes, finding places for our things, and trying to turn this empty house into a home. It was tiring work, but it felt good. We were building a life together, and this house was a big part of that. By evening, we were almost done, but there was still an old, dusty box up in the attic. Lily had asked me to get it, saying it was some old stuff she kept from her past. I climbed up the stairs and found it. The box was small, a bit beat up, and covered with dust. I carried it downstairs, curious about what could be inside. As I opened the box, I saw letters. Lots of letters. They were all tied together with a simple ribbon, and on the top, I saw Lily's handwriting. Each letter was addressed to someone named Alex. I knew Lily had a past, but she'd never told me much about her life before me, and I hadn't thought much about it. Now, looking at this pile of letters, I suddenly felt a strange urge to know more. I told myself that it was nothing, just old memories, but I couldn't help myself. I took the first letter, untied the ribbon, and opened it. I began to read slowly, my heart beating faster with each line. In the letter, Lily talked about her love for Alex. Her words were so full of feeling, so deep and warm. She described how much she missed him and how she dreamed of seeing him again. She wrote about her hopes, her fears, and how he made her feel safe and loved. As I read, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Part of me felt guilty for reading something so personal, but another part felt hurt, like there was something between us I didn't know about. I put down the letter and took a deep breath. This wasn't what I expected. I had thought that Lily's past was just that, her past. But these letters told a different story. I started to wonder if Lily had ever truly moved on from Alex. Did she still think about him? Did she still feel this way? Suddenly, I felt insecure. I thought about our life together, our love, and our future. Was it all real? Or was I just a replacement for the man she really loved? These questions made my heart heavy, and I didn't know what to think. I looked over at Lily, who was still busy unpacking things in the kitchen. She looked so happy, so content. It was hard to believe that, in her heart, she might still be holding on to someone else. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was silly to be jealous of someone from her past. But the words in that letter were so strong, so alive. They didn't feel like something from a long time ago. They felt fresh, like Lily had just written them yesterday. I felt a tightness in my chest, a feeling I couldn't ignore. I took another letter from the box, hoping maybe this one would be different, that it would show me Lily had moved on. But the second letter was just as intense. She wrote about missing Alex's smile, his voice, and the way he made her laugh. She talked about moments they'd shared, places they'd gone, and how those memories stayed with her. Each word seemed to hit me harder than the last. It was as if Lily was sharing a part of herself that I'd never known, a part she hadn't shared with me. I put the letters back in the box and tied the ribbon around them. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what to do. Should I talk to Lily about this? Should I ask her if she still had feelings for Alex? But what if I didn't like her answer? What if she told me that, yes, part of her still loved him? The thought made me feel even worse. I'd always thought our love was strong, that I was the only one in her heart. Now I wasn't so sure. I felt like there was a shadow hanging over our relationship, a ghost of someone I couldn't compete with. And that ghost was someone she had loved deeply, maybe more than she loved me. I sat there, alone with my thoughts, while Lily worked in the kitchen. She looked over and smiled at me, asking if I needed help. I forced a smile back, trying to hide my feelings. "No, I'm fine," I replied, even though I felt anything but fine. My mind was racing with questions and doubts. I wanted to know the truth, but I was afraid to ask. That night, after we'd finished unpacking and went to bed, I couldn't sleep. Lily lay beside me, breathing softly, peaceful as if nothing was wrong. But inside I felt torn. I kept thinking about those letters, about the words she'd written to Alex. I wondered if Lily was still carrying a part of that love with her, if she still thought about him even now. Finally, as I lay awake in the dark, I made a decision. I had to know the truth. I couldn't live with this doubt, this feeling of being second best. Tomorrow, I would talk to Lily about the letters, about Alex, and about what was really in her heart. As I drifted into a troubled sleep, I knew this conversation would change everything. But I needed answers. I needed to know if Lily's love for me was real, or if it was just a shadow of the love she had lost. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy heart. Lily was still sleeping beside me, looking peaceful, unaware of the storm inside me. I watched her for a moment, wondering if I should wake her and ask about the letters right then. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was afraid. What if her answer hurt me even more? What if she told me that, yes, she still loved Alex? I got out of bed quietly and went to the kitchen to make some coffee, trying to calm my thoughts. I sat at the table, staring into my cup, thinking about what I should do. Should I talk to Lily now? Or wait? Should I tell her I read the letters? I didn't know the right answer. Part of me just wanted to forget about the whole thing, to pretend I had never seen those letters. But another part of me knew that wasn't possible. The words in those letters were stuck in my mind. I needed to know if they meant something, if Alex was still a part of Lily's heart. After a while, Lily joined me in the kitchen. She smiled and kissed me on the cheek, cheerful and bright. "Good morning, Ben," she said, pouring herself a cup of coffee. I looked at her, wondering if she could tell that something was wrong. But she just started talking about plans for the day, as if everything was normal. I tried to listen, but my mind kept going back to the letters. Every time she smiled or laughed, I wondered if she had ever looked at Alex the same way. I wondered if, deep down, she was thinking of him even now. The questions made me feel distant from her, like there was a wall between us. Lily noticed I was quiet. "Are you okay, Ben?" she asked, looking concerned. I forced a smile and nodded. "Yeah, just tired," I said, hoping she wouldn't ask more. But she kept watching me with worry in her eyes. I could tell she wanted to know what was wrong, but I wasn't ready to tell her yet. The day went on like that, with me feeling distant and Lily sensing that something was wrong. She tried to make me laugh, to talk about happy things, but nothing worked. I kept thinking about the letters, about Alex, about the love she had for him. I started to feel like maybe I didn't know Lily as well as I thought. By evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to know the truth. After dinner, I took a deep breath and turned to Lily. "Can we talk?" I asked, my voice low and serious. She looked surprised but nodded. We went to the living room and sat down, and I tried to find the right words. I looked down, not sure how to start. Finally, I said, "Yesterday, when I was in the attic, I found a box. It had letters in it. Letters you wrote to someone named Alex." I looked up to see her reaction. Her face changed, a mix of surprise and something else. She looked away, biting her lip, as if she didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry," I said quickly. "I know I shouldn't have read them, but I couldn't help it. I was curious. And, well, I guess I was a bit jealous." I felt a mix of shame and worry as I waited for her to respond. After a long pause, Lily looked back at me. "Then, those letters are old. They're from a long time ago. Alex was. He was someone I loved before I met you." She looked down, her fingers twisting together nervously. "I didn't mean to keep them a secret. I don't know. I kept them as a memory, I guess." I listened, but her words didn't make me feel better. "But Lily," I said slowly, "the way you wrote about him, it was so deep, so strong. Do you still feel that way about him?" Lily's face softened, and she looked sad. "Ben, no. I mean, not really. It's complicated. Alex was my first love, and that kind of love, it stays with you in a way. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. You are my husband, my life now." Her words made sense, but my heart still hurt. "But do you still think about him?" I asked, my voice almost a whisper. "Do you still wish you were with him?" She shook her head. "No, Ben. I don't wish that. But sometimes I think about what could have been. I think we all do that with people from our past. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I do, Ben. I love you very much." I wanted to believe her, but the doubt was still there. I thought about our life, about our future. "Lily?" I said, feeling my heart ache. Am I enough for you? Or am I just a replacement for him? She looked at me, her eyes full of emotion. Ben, you are enough. You are more than enough. Alex was a part of my life, yes, but he's not my life now. You are. Please believe me. I took a deep breath, trying to let her words sink in. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to let go of my fears, to trust that our love was real. But the words in those letters were still in my mind, like shadows I couldn't shake. Okay, I said finally, trying to smile. I believe you, but inside I still felt unsure. I didn't know if I could ever fully let go of the thought that maybe, just maybe, Lily still had a part of her heart that belonged to someone else. That night, as we went to bed, I lay awake again, feeling torn. Lily was beside me, close and warm, but I felt far away. I knew this wasn't over. I knew that, deep down, I needed something more. I needed proof that Lily's love for me was strong enough to erase the shadows of her past. As I drifted into another troubled sleep, I knew there was only one way to find out. I would have to meet Alex, to see the man who had once been Lily's whole world. Only then could I understand if Lily's love for me was truly real. The idea to meet Alex grew in my mind. It felt strange and a bit crazy, but I needed to see him, to understand what he meant to Lily. Maybe, if I met him, I could finally know if her love for me was real. I knew where Alex lived from his social media profile. He wasn't far, just in a nearby city. All I had to do was get in the car and drive there. The next day, I told Lily I was going out for a bit. She asked if everything was okay, and I forced a smile, saying I just needed some time to think. She looked worried, but she didn't press me. I got in the car, feeling nervous and unsure, but I drove toward the address I'd found for Alex. I kept thinking about what I would say, how I would explain myself. What kind of man meets his wife's ex? The drive was quiet, giving me too much time to think. My mind was filled with questions and doubts. Was I doing the right thing? Would this help? Or would it only make things worse? But I knew I had to go through with it. I couldn't live with these doubts any longer. When I reached Alex's place, I parked outside and sat in the car for a moment, trying to gather my thoughts. The building was small and simple, just like any other in the neighborhood. I didn't know what I expected, but seeing the place where Alex lived made him feel more real. This wasn't just someone from Lily's past. He was a real person, someone she had loved. I took a deep breath, got out of the car, and walked up to his door. My heart was pounding, and I could feel my palms sweating. I knocked, waiting, unsure of what would happen next. After a few moments, the door opened, and there he was, Alex. He looked surprised to see me, and I realized he had no idea who I was. "Hi, can I help you?" he asked, looking at me with a curious expression. I took a deep breath and tried to speak. "Hi, I'm Ben," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm Lily's husband." I saw a flicker of recognition in his eyes, and his expression changed. He looked a bit surprised, maybe even a little uncomfortable. "Oh," he said, pausing for a moment. "Lily's husband. Well, nice to meet you, I guess." He smiled a little, but it was a cautious smile, as if he wasn't sure why I was there. "Can we talk?" I asked, feeling a bit awkward. "I know this is strange, but I have some things I need to understand." He looked at me for a moment, then nodded, stepping back to let me in. Inside, his place was simple but cozy. We sat down in the living room, and for a moment, there was only silence between us. I didn't know how to start, but finally, I just said what was on my mind. "I know about you and Lily," I began. "I found some letters she wrote to you. I know she loved you very much, and I guess I just needed to know more. I need to understand what you meant to her." Alex looked at me carefully, his face thoughtful. She was very special to me," he said, his voice soft. "We were young and we had something strong. I can't deny that." He looked away for a moment, as if remembering something far away. "Do you still care about her?" I asked, my voice almost a whisper. I didn't know if I wanted to hear the answer, but I needed to know. He nodded slowly. "Yes, in a way I do. But it's not the same as it was. People change. Life changes. He looked at me, and there was a sadness in his eyes. I'll always remember what we had, but that doesn't mean I want it back. She has a new life now with you. Hearing those words made my heart feel a little lighter, but I still had more to understand. Why did things end between you and Lily? I asked, feeling like this question held a key to my doubts. Alex sighed. We loved each other, but we wanted different things. I think we both knew it couldn't last forever. We were young and, well, sometimes love isn't enough. He looked at me, a serious look in his eyes. I think Lily found the right person in you. She deserves someone who loves her fully, without the complications. I felt a mix of relief and sadness. Part of me was glad that their love was over, but another part of me realized that Lily still carried a piece of that love with her. It didn't mean she didn't love me, but it was still there, like a small shadow in her heart. Do you think she still loves you? I asked, the question that had been haunting me for so long. Alex looked down, thinking for a moment. Maybe in some small way, but not the way she loves you. What we had was a part of her life, a part of her story. It's not her life now. He looked at me with a calm expression. Lily chose you, Ben, and I think that means more than any memory of the past. I let his words sink in. It was true, Lily had chosen me. She had built a life with me, a future with me. Whatever she felt for Alex was just a piece of her past, not her present. For the first time, I felt a sense of peace. We talked a bit more, and then I thanked Alex for his honesty. He wished me well, and as I walked back to my car, I felt like a weight had been lifted from my heart. Meeting Alex didn't take away every doubt, but it helped me see that Lily's love for me was real, even if her past had left its marks. As I drove home, I knew I would still have to talk to Lily, to let her know about my fears and my need for reassurance. But now, I felt stronger, ready to face whatever came next. I had faced the ghost of her past, and now, I was ready to focus on the love we shared. Driving home, I felt both calm and nervous. Meeting Alex had given me some answers, but I knew I wasn't finished. I still had to talk to Lily, to tell her what I was feeling. I wanted her to understand why I had these doubts and why I felt so insecure. I wanted her to know what I needed from her to help me feel strong again. When I arrived home, Lily was in the living room reading. She looked up and smiled, but her eyes held a question. I could tell she knew something was going on with me. That something wasn't right. I took a deep breath and sat down beside her. I didn't want to hide anything from her anymore. Lily, I need to talk to you. I began, my voice a little shaky. She put down her book and looked at me, her face full of concern. I could see she was ready to listen, but I didn't know how to start. I took another deep breath and just decided to tell her everything. Yesterday, I found your letters to Alex in the attic, I said slowly, watching her face. She didn't say anything at first, but I saw a flash of surprise and maybe a little guilt. I know I shouldn't have read them, but I couldn't stop myself. I felt like I needed to know more about that part of your life. Lily nodded, her face calm but a bit sad. I understand, Ben, she said quietly. I know those letters were private. I didn't mean to keep secrets from you. I guess I just never thought about it. Alex was a part of my past, but I never thought it would matter now. I felt a knot in my chest, but I pushed myself to go on. It does matter, Lily. Reading those letters made me feel insecure. I felt like maybe I was just a replacement for him. Like maybe, in your heart, he was still there, and I was just someone you chose because he wasn't around. She looked down, her hands twisting nervously. Ben, I am sorry. I never wanted you to feel that way. Alex was my first love, yes, but he's not my life now. You are. I chose you, Ben, because I love you. Those letters were just memories. I listened, and her words did help, but there was still a part of me that wasn't sure. I know you say that, I replied, but I can't help feeling like there's a shadow of him in our marriage. I need to know that your love for me is whole, that it's not divided between me and a memory. Lily reached over and took my hand. Her eyes were full of emotion, and I could see how much she wanted me to believe her. Ben, she said softly, I do love you with my whole heart. Alex was a chapter in my life, but it's a chapter that's closed now. When I'm with you, I don't think of him. I think only of you, of us. I nodded, feeling her words sink in. But there was still one more thing I needed to tell her. Today, I went to see Alex, I said, my voice low. I watched her face as I spoke, and I saw her eyes widen with surprise. You went to see him? She asked, her voice filled with shock. Why, Ben? I needed to understand who he was, I explained. I needed to know what kind of man he was to see if he was still someone you cared about. I wanted to know if he had something I couldn't give you. Lily looked at me, her face a mix of sadness and understanding. And what did you find out? She asked quietly. I took a deep breath, thinking back to my meeting with Alex. I found out that he still cares about you in a way, but he told me that you made the right choice, that we are meant to be together. He said he's a part of your past, and he's happy to stay there. Meeting him helped me see that, Lily. It helped me believe that your love for me is real. Lily squeezed my hand, her eyes bright with emotion. Then, I am so sorry that my past made you feel this way. I never wanted that. I love you, and only you. Alex was a part of my journey, but you are my destination. You are my life now. Hearing her say those words, I felt a warmth in my heart, a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in days. I realized that her love for me wasn't divided. It was whole and true. I had been so focused on her past that I forgot about our present, about the love we had built together. I believe you, Lily, I said finally, my voice steady. I trust you. I know now that our love is real, that it's enough. I took her in my arms, holding her close, feeling the strength of her love around me. We sat there for a long time, just holding each other, letting the silence fill the space between us. In that quiet moment, I felt a deep sense of peace. I knew that we had faced the hardest part of this journey, and now we could move forward, free from the shadows of the past. As we sat together, I thought about the letters, about Alex, about everything that had happened. But now it felt different. It felt like a memory, something that had once mattered but no longer had power over us. Lily's love was mine, and I could finally believe it. That night, as we went to bed, I lay beside Lily with a calm heart. For the first time in days, I felt whole. I knew that our love was strong enough to face anything, even the shadows of the past. We had come through it together, and now the future felt bright and clear. With Lily by my side, I closed my eyes, knowing that I was loved and that I had nothing left to fear. The next morning, I woke up feeling a peace I hadn't felt in days. Beside me, Lily was still asleep, her face calm and relaxed. I watched her for a moment, grateful for everything we'd shared the night before. We had faced something difficult, but now I felt closer to her than ever. It was like a weight had been lifted from my heart. As I got out of bed, Lily woke up and smiled at me. "Good morning," she whispered, reaching out to take my hand. I held her hand, feeling warmth in her touch, and leaned down to kiss her forehead. "Good morning," I replied, my voice soft. "How did you sleep?" She nodded. "Better than I have in days." She looked at me with love in her eyes. "Thank you, Ben. Thank you for being honest with me. It means a lot." I nodded, feeling a little emotional. "I'm just glad we talked. I feel different now, like I can breathe again. I know that your love for me is real, and that means everything." She squeezed my hand, and we both got up, ready to start the day. But I knew there was still one more thing I needed to do, one last step to help me fully move forward. Later that morning, I went up to the attic, where the letters were still hidden in the box. I brought the box down, feeling a strange sense of calm as I carried it into the living room. Lily saw me and knew right away what I was planning to do. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice gentle. I nodded. "Yes, I'm sure. These letters were important to you once, but they're just memories now. They don't belong in our life anymore." She came over and placed her hand on the box. "I kept them for so long because I thought I needed them," she said quietly. "But now I know that I don't. I have you, Ben. You are my life now." We decided to go outside to the backyard. The morning was bright, and the air was fresh. I took each letter, one by one, and placed them in a small fire pit we had. Lily stood beside me, watching silently, a calm expression on her face. She didn't look sad or regretful. She looked free. I lit a match, and together we watched as the letters caught fire, the flames rising and crackling as the paper burned. I felt like I was watching something important, something final. Each letter turned to ash, and as they did, I felt a deep sense of closure. The past was gone, burned away, leaving only the present and the future. When the fire was out, Lily turned to me and took my hand. "Thank you, Ben," she said softly. "Thank you for helping me let go." I looked into her eyes and smiled. "Thank you for choosing me, for being here with me. I love you, Lily. I love the life we have, and I'm ready to leave the past behind us." We held each other for a long time, standing there in the sunlight, feeling the warmth of our love and the peace that had finally come. I knew now that I had nothing left to worry about. The past was just a memory, and our love was strong enough to face anything. The weeks after we burned the letters felt like a new beginning. I felt lighter, and our home felt warmer. I no longer had the weight of those letters on my mind, and I knew that Lily and I were moving forward together. There was a new level of trust between us, a deeper understanding of each other's hearts. Each day I felt closer to Lily. We spent more time talking, sharing our thoughts and feelings without holding anything back. It felt like a wall had come down between us, a wall I hadn't even known was there before I found the letters. Now, with the past put to rest, we could enjoy our life fully, without any shadows hanging over us. One evening, Lily suggested that we take a short trip together. "Let's go somewhere quiet, somewhere just for us," she said with a smile. "I feel like we deserve a break. Don't you?" I agreed. It was a wonderful idea, and I loved the thought of getting away, just the two of us. We decided to go to a small cabin by a lake, a place surrounded by nature and peace. We packed lightly and set off early one Saturday morning, feeling excited and happy. The drive was beautiful, with winding roads and green hills all around us. Lily held my hand as I drove, and we talked and laughed the whole way. It felt like we were leaving everything behind, as if this trip was a symbol of our fresh start. By the time we arrived at the cabin, we were both relaxed and eager to spend time together in such a peaceful place. The cabin was small and cozy, with a big window that looked out over the lake. We spent the first afternoon walking by the water, talking about our dreams, our future, and all the things we wanted to do together. There was no talk of the past, no thoughts of old worries, only joy and hope. That evening, as the sun set over the lake, we sat outside by a small fire. The sky was full of stars, and the air was cool and calm. I looked over at Lily, feeling a deep gratitude for her, for the journey we had been on together. I realized that every step, every hard moment, had brought us closer. "I feel so lucky to be with you," I told her, my voice full of emotion. "We've been through so much, but I wouldn't change a single thing. Every moment has made us stronger." She smiled at me, her eyes shining. "I feel the same way, Ben. I know we had to go through those things to be where we are now. It's like we've grown together, learned from each other. And now, I feel like nothing can come between us." Hearing those words made my heart feel full. I took her hand, holding it tightly. "Lily, I promise to always be honest with you, to always share what's in my heart. No more doubts, no more fears. Just us." She nodded, her face soft with understanding. "And I promise the same. No more secrets, no more holding on to things that don't belong in our life. Just us, together." We sat there in silence, watching the fire burn, feeling the warmth of our love. In that moment, I felt like we were connected in a way I had never felt before. I knew that no matter what happened, we would face it together, with open hearts and open minds. As the days passed at the cabin, we enjoyed each moment together. We took long walks, cooked meals together, and laughed over silly things. Every moment felt precious, a reminder of the love we shared and the future we were building. By the time our trip ended, I felt like we had both healed from everything that had come before. We had found a new sense of peace, a deeper love that felt unbreakable. When we returned home, I looked around our house and felt grateful. It was more than just a place. It was our home, filled with memories, laughter, and love. The shadows of the past were gone, replaced by the warmth of everything we had built together. From that day on, I knew that I didn't need to worry about Lily's past or my own doubts. Our love was strong, whole, and real. It was enough to carry us through any challenge, any hardship. We had faced the hardest test, and now we were free to live our life together, full of joy and trust. I held Lily close, knowing that this was only the beginning of our story. A story built on love, honesty, and the strength to move forward.